So, I'm about to watch Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I'm a little bit apprehensive with the whole Rotten Tomatoes debacle. I am slightly concerned about this movie, but I guess I'll just have to wait and see. Oh, I think it's about to start, so. The critics are fucking stupid. Godzilla King of the Monsters. Holy shit, this movie is so fucking awesome. Seriously, go watch this movie. Trust me, I know it seems a lot easier to just simply go on Put Lockers and pirate this movie, but trust me, go spend your money on this movie because this movie is just absolutely worth it. Oh, I need to give you reasons because otherwise I would be giving you vague information, so Godzilla King of the Monsters is the best movie of 2019 so far. I would dare to say that it's better than Avengers Endgame. Sure, Avengers Endgame is a pretty good movie, but it does have its flaws that prevent it from being a perfect movie. But Godzilla King of the Monsters is so fucking perfect! Seriously, the critics on Rotten Tomatoes are so dead wrong. This movie strikes a perfect balance between the human characters and the kaiju. And yes, unlike the 2014 movie, the kaiju in this movie have way more screen time. Ghidorah has a lot of screen time, Rodan has a decent amount of screen time, Godzilla, our main man, has way more screen time than the 2014 movie, and Mothra, even though she has the least amount of screen time in this movie, when she is on screen, oh boy, I can see why they call her the Queen of the Monsters, because she is truly a goddess. What I like about this movie is the fact that the kaiju are the main characters. Sure, there's humans there, they have their human drama, and they do drive the plot forward, but that's just it. The human characters are there to be secondary characters that move the plot forward, because in reality, the real main stars are the kaiju. The kaiju are what the movie is about, and therefore, they're the main characters. And because of that, the kaiju have a lot of personality. Godzilla is this very old yet wise animal who keeps nature in balance and won't hesitate to fight those who upset the balance. Mothra is a very powerful kaiju, and yet she's a gentle giant. She's benevolent and she cares about the human race. She's willing to sacrifice herself for the good of the world and to keep nature in balance. And then there's King Ghidorah, who upsets the balance because he's a real villain in this movie. He is a dictator who wants to take over the world. And while yes, that may sound like a very cliche thing for the villain to do, keep in mind, King Ghidorah is taking over the world not because he's the bad guy, but it's because it has something to do with the fact that he's an invasive species. He's an animal who wants to claim this territory as its own, even though it doesn't belong to him. And that's what makes King Ghidorah less one-dimensional. What makes him even less one-dimensional is the fact that all three of his heads have personalities. The middle head seems to be the most intelligent and is a leader. The left head seems to be more or less of a minion, and the right head, well, the right head's just a complete lovable dumbass. In fact, there's a scene in the movie where the right head was licking the corpse of a human character, and then the middle head's all like, "Stop licking the head, you autistic fuck." It was a very funny scene. Unfortunately, Rodan seems to be the one who has the least amount of personality, but he more or less acts like an Igor in this movie. He's just kind of the guy who follows the crowd. He's like, oh, he's the leader? Okay, I'm gonna go to... Oh, wait, he's the leader. I'm gonna follow him. Rodan, well, the best way to describe him is he's a normie. Now, just because the kaiju have a lot of personality, that doesn't make the human characters one-dimensional. In fact, the human characters have some pretty good motivations on why they do the things they do. For example, Dr. Zarazawa firmly believes that kaiju and humans can coexist, therefore he's defending the existence of kaiju. Meanwhile, Mark Russell, on the other hand, doesn't like the kaiju because they killed his son back in the Battle of San Francisco, and therefore wants all of the kaiju dead. Then, there's the eco-terrorists who, let's face it, they already have good motivation. They see humanity as an infection by polluting stuff, and they see the kaiju as a way to get rid of humanity and restore nature's balance, even though they have no fucking clue on how to actually do it. They're just eco-terrorists. So, in conclusion, the characters are all pretty solid. But what about the visual effects? Well, if you thought Thanos from Infinity War and Endgame are some of the best visual effects, Well, you haven't seen Godzilla King of the Monsters because this has some of the best CGI in cinema history. All of the kaiju look and feel real. They look real while having some weight to them. Not only that, but because they're performed by motion capture, they are also really expressive. Like, minor spoiler, but Rodan at the end of the movie shows a happy face, and you can actually tell he's smiling. So not only are all of the kaiju very realistic and have some weight to them, but they're also pretty expressive, which gives them a lot of their personalities. Not to mention all of the beautiful shots in this movie, like when Mothra spreads her wings, when Godzilla blows his atomic breath, and when Rodan and King Ghidorah rise up from the ground. It's all very good. This is some of the best CGI in cinema history, and it really does go to show that sometimes you don't need practical effects to make something look real. But by far, my favorite thing about this movie is the world building. You see, they really do expand the mythology of this universe that Godzilla 2014 created. After Godzilla and the Mutos destroy San Francisco, humanity is well aware of the existence of kaiju, and they want the kaiju dead, while some people like Dr. Zarazawa opt for coexistence between humans and kaiju. Not only that, but King Ghidorah is an alien in this movie, so they introduced the concept of extraterrestrial kaijus in this universe. Not only that, but it turns out all of the old gods like Greek mythology and Christianity, all of those gods and deities are based on kaiju. And not only that, but King Kong is canon within this universe. So does that mean King Kong and Godzilla are going to... Nah, it doesn't matter. You know, it's impossible. It's not gonna happen. Overall, the world building is pretty good. Now, Godzilla King of the Monsters is a very good movie, but why do critics not like it? I think it's because this movie isn't very deep. A lot of people have a very high expectations. They gotta have very deep meanings in their movies, or they gotta have some very compelling themes. But you know what? You don't have to have some very compelling themes or have a deeper meaning to tell a good story. Sometimes the best stories are the ones that are more simpler and straightforward. So even though Godzilla King of the Monsters isn't Citizen Kane levels of good, it's a masterpiece at being a monster movie. And I hope you guys give it a chance, because really, Godzilla King of the Monsters is a spectacle that must be seen. Well, that was my review for Godzilla King of the Monsters. It really is a good movie, so hopefully you guys give it a chance. Not only that, but this is it. This is the end of Godzillathon. It's been a wild ride reviewing every single Godzilla movie, and it almost ended off on a bad note because the anime trilogy is just... ugh. But thank Godzilla that it ended off on a good note, because Godzilla King of the Monsters really is a good movie. So, I guess all I can say is thank you guys for joining me on this journey on Godzillathon. Hopefully, I don't have to do any more of these. Motherfucker!